Hello and welcome to Tiny Table Talk for The Challenge Season 36, Double Agents Episode 16. And in this video, we're going to be looking into CT already having his pass to the finals and how we got to this point, some what ifs that could have happened throughout this season that are racking my brain after this episode, going over some comments from my Thursday's review and recap. But before we get into all that, I want to go over my new video schedule and take care of some housekeeping. With the premiere of the Challenge All-Stars simultaneously running with the Challenge Double Agents for the time being, my new schedule is going to be looking like on Thursdays, coming out with the Thursday review and recap for the Challenge Double Agents at its normal time, but later on in the evening, I will be coming out with a Thursday's review and recap for the Challenge All-Stars. Then on Friday, it'll be the same with the Challenge Double Agents Tiny Table Talk. Then on Saturday mornings, I will be having a Tiny Table Talk for the Challenge All-Stars, getting into some of my opinions, going through the episode a little bit more. Then on Tuesdays, I will be getting another reality TV show video done, whether it's on the challenge or something more generalized on reality TV. Now, with how jam-packed the schedule is towards the end of the week right now, these Tuesday videos I feel will be every other Tuesday for the time being, just as long as the both seasons are going simultaneously. But once the Challenge Double Agents is over, that's where we'll get back to a little bit of normalcy with a Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Tuesday video. But for the time being, this is what the schedule will look like for right now. Now, at the end of this episode, with Amber sending Big T home, taking Fessy as her partner, Nany picking Kyle as her new partner, CT is rogue, and he is kicking back his feet because it seems as though there's only one more episode before the finals, and he doesn't have to worry about anything. He doesn't have to worry about competing in the next daily challenge because he's rogue. He doesn't have to worry about being backstabbed or blindsided with the vote because, heck, he's unable to be thrown into the next elimination. So right now, he just has to worry about who his partner will be because he really doesn't have a choice in that. But at this moment, knowing that he's in the finals, he doesn't have to worry about that. Let's think about it this way. I don't think he thought he was gonna make it this far in the season anyways. Let's go back to episode 1, where everyone was on the anti-champ campaign. Everybody wanted to get them out, and they had CT, Ashley, Wes, and Natalie in the first elimination of the season. And I think CT was just trying to figure out a way to survive. And then as the season progressed and he got paired up with Big T, that's where his social game, his political game started to help out. People didn't really see him as a threat because he was partnered up with Big T. And it was kind of like, okay, well, we're just gonna chill on him for a little bit. All of a sudden, he wins his gold skull. After there was talks about him being iced out of the elimination, he gets his gold skull, gets Cam as a partner, then goes back to Big T. I mean, there was confessionals happening within this season where he was like, this is just a rebuilding season. I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the finals. And then episode 16 just hits everybody with a ton of bricks, where now CT is rogue with an express pass to the finals. Honestly, it seems as though that there are some players that are thinking of chess, and then there's some people with luck, and then there's just some players that are just thinking of the right now. Nany is thinking of the right now. Hey, if I get paired up with Kyle and we can stay out of the elimination, then I got my partner that I want to run the final with. But you have to make it to the finals. There's one more elimination, and there's nobody that has a guaranteed spot except all the women and CT at this moment. And my goodness, how all of this has transpired from thinking back to the first episode where CT was possibly being thrown into the elimination, possibly going to be the first one out in this season. He's flying high right now. Now he's just waiting for his partner. And I can't believe we've gotten to this point from where we started the season off. I mean, it just seems like a complete misdirection from how the season began to where we are right now. So after this daily challenge, there was a lot of talk about tie votes, and I really, really wished we would have gotten a tie vote. There's so many points in this season where there was so many what ifs that I think could have made the season a lot more fun, a lot more spicier. And I think of not only do I wish there was a tie vote to see what would have happened, but I also think back to the ending of the previous episode where Big T had an opportunity to switch out partners, but she decided to stay with CT, and then Kyle became a pair with Amber. And that made it easier on the house this episode at least to not only throw in Kyle and Amber, but also CT and Big T. And in the middle of this episode, I was thinking, okay, so what if in last episode, Big T did steal Fessy, and CT went with Amber, Nany got with Kyle, and then come to this episode, Leroy and Casey still win the daily challenge, and everyone makes the house vote, CT and Amber. What would have happened? Who would have they voted into the elimination as the double agents? Because Casey is always going to look out for Fessy. Leroy would never say Cam's name. So would he have been thinking about throwing in Nany and Kyle into the elimination? Or would there have been a stalemate between Leroy and Casey to where their pairing would have exploded, or there would have at least been some dialogue between them of who would they have sent in? Now, Casey is really close with Nany, really close with Fessy. That's like the top two people that she said were her like closest allies in the house. Leroy views Nany as a sister. He would never say Cam's name. What would have happened? Would they have clashed heads up there at the balcony on when they had to vote in somebody into the elimination against CT and Amber? I think this would have made the game so much spicier and so much more interesting in this episode if they were faced with that dilemma. What would have happened if they disagreed? I think they would have been the ones possibly being thrown into the elimination, and I think that's where push come to shove, I think both of them would have agreed to maybe send in Kyle and Nany, just for the sole fact that I think that they would have believed that Nany could have taken Big T, but also we just had a Women's Day, and I think they would have put in Kyle and Nany thinking that it's going to be CT versus Kyle in the elimination, and then it have be a Women's Day, and then all of this would have been flipped. That's just been racking my brain ever since the episode. I was really like, oh, how much better and how much more interesting would the episode would have been if that would have been the case from the previous episode leading into this one. There's a lot of what ifs that could have happened, but in my brain, that's the one that I was really thinking about throughout the rest of this episode, thinking like, okay, Leroy and Casey are the double agents, but what could have been? Alright, let's get to some comments from my Thursday review and recap, and the first comment comes from Julia, who says, Fessy thinks that the female competitors are picking him because he is a good competitor, but in reality, they are picking him because Casey and Leroy keep winning all the dailies, and therefore, they will gain protection through Fessy's alliance, not through himself. And the BB Alliance also benefited from Amber as she helped bring up their numbers. I mean, that's exactly why they keep on picking Fessy. Yes, he's strong. Yes, he's one of the bigger competitors, but also looking at, say, CT, who is a champ, they don't really want to go for him because of how much heat was on him from the beginning of the season. So I 100% agree with you on this point. As we've seen, he's not the best partner. The next comment comes from Justin, who says, TJ last episode, this game is far from over. TJ this episode, this game is almost over. That's exactly right. I mean, that was what I kept on getting confused on with last episode. One episode changes everything. The next comment comes from Safi B, who says, I've honestly never really liked Casey in both BB and the challenge, but I couldn't quite put my finger on why until now. Casey talks about being loyal, but then when push comes to shove, she ditches them. She did it to Bailey, and now she's done it to Amber. She has the audacity to say Amber feels entitled. Well, Amber did help her out, and she straight up lied to Amber about how close they are. If she would have just been honest with Amber, then I don't think there would have been a problem. Yes, and to me, this is where you worry about Casey's game. Casey has a great social game, and she has the numbers this season. So she has a good political game this season. And when you get into power so much, there's only so many friends you can have in the game before you're turning on them. And that's where you need to draw the line in the sand, that you can be friendly, but you can't be like everybody's friend, because it's gonna come back to bite you. And then she has that reputation of like, oh, she'll be your friend, but she'll stab you in the back the first moment she gets. Once is coincidence, but twice is a pattern, and it's going to get to that point where, oh, I can trust Casey, but I can't trust her up to this point. But again, this is the challenge, and everyone's going to have to lie and backstab at some point in the game. The next comment comes from Aaron, who says, this episode made me miss American Gladiators, #Atlasphere. 100%. I love some American Gladiators. I loved watching the retro one and the new reboot. The next comment comes from Shasid, who says, I feel like even though Big T went home, she still very much won this season in our hearts and her own. If anybody watches on MTV.com where she's talking about her final words, she has the biggest smile because you can just tell that even though she is upset about losing and leaving the game, she feels so proud of herself, and this is only the beginning for Big T. I wholeheartedly believe that. The next comment comes from Dan, who says, LOL, didn't Amber B not know that KC already backstabbed a Big Brother player that played on the challenge, Bailey? If you watch the aftermath, I'm surprised during the trivia that these new players hardly know anything about the challenge. I mean, they are questioning on seasons, on past challenge history. It's like, why wouldn't anybody watch the past seasons to get more of an understanding of the competitors and who they're going to be playing for money against? It just seems like they just said yes to whatever, and then they come on the show and they're just like, oh, I don't know anybody. I don't know anything. It's like, come on now, do your homework, please. The next comment comes from Mark, who says, I was so upset it wasn't a guy's day. I love Kyle to death, and I would have loved to see him in another final, but why couldn't it have been CT versus Kyle? I've always wanted to see CT in a hall brawl, and this was the golden opportunity. I not only thought it was going to be a guy's day, but I also thought it was going to be a double elimination, which makes a lot of sense thinking back to previous season of Total Madness, where there was a double elimination right before the finals of a hall brawl. Then they changed it all up on us, and it reminded me of the first episode where we thought it was going to be the two teams going against each other, and then they made it a women's day, and now it's going to be another women's day, and it's like it just kind of shocked me a bit. The next comment comes from Victor, who says, CT and Kyle fighting for the rogue agent spot was hilarious to me. It was really, really funny. Leroy has to be pissed that she didn't choose CT to send him back to the elimination. I also hope that the final isn't a one-episode final. Yeah, I hope this isn't a one-episode final. I remember one-episode final and Final Reckoning, and that was so anticlimactic. I really hope it's not a one-time deal. The next comment comes from Daphne, who says, this is the first time I just wanted the season to end. To me, it feels like they're dragging these episodes. I'd rather see a double elimination or a purge rather than another daily and a separate guys-girl elimination. Yes, again, I thought this was going to be a double elimination. It made all that much more sense to me that this would have been a double elimination and we would have just been walking into the finals the next episode. I completely agree that this just feels like they're just dragging it out. It seems like totally, uneven ground to have one person be a complete rogue agent this close to the finals and already have their ticket punched, but I mean, that's just how the game is going, I guess. And the final comment comes from Marty, who says, I'm hoping for a big twist at the end for the finals. I've been hoping for a big twist for a long time, and I'm hoping there's one for the finals, but we're gonna have to wait and see. The finals are super close, but we're still having to wait one more episode at least. But that is it for this video. What do you think about this episode? Let me know that in the comment section below. What do you think about the what ifs? What do you think about CT having an express pass already being in the finals? Let me know that in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge 36 Double Agent content, more Challenge All-Star content, more Challenge content, and more content in general. But until then, peace.